all right, I've been filming for my job. Now I'm trying to go and film for this passion project, and I'm actually missing ski days to go film. And like for 90% of the time, the inner voice in my head is like, well, we got 3 good shots. Like this movie's gonna suck, you know. Like, we just kept going. We set a due date. We were like, we're having a premiere, and I just did it whenever I had free time. And it takes so much willpower to do something. But that's why they call it a passion project. It's just, you gotta, like, the passion is what fueled it.
Welcome to Creator Chats, where we sit down with creative professionals to learn about their journey, industry insights, and tips. Today, we're sitting down with filmmaker Henri Hallé, who works in the outdoor industry, working with brands like Smith, Crystal Mountain, and K2 Skis. Let's just hop in. Where did the journey start? How did you get into filmmaking?
Man, it's going on about 10 years of being a professional creator, filmmaker. But it all started really, I made my first film when I was like 13. My brother and I put together a kind of spoof on Lord of the Rings called Mount Chicabora. And we filmed it with the neighbors' kids. And it was kind of like he was Gollum playing with the ring, and he'd go invisible and then cause mayhem in the house. And filmmaking was always something that I just really loved doing. And so in high school, they offered some filmmaking classes and kept taking those, and then went to college, hated school, but loved partying, and then also loved the film classes like the college had. So I just kept taking them. And after college, filmed some music videos for a friend.
Did you go to school for film specifically?
No, I definitely went to school to play lacrosse. I was a lax bro. And then also I went to, I kind of chose the school based on lacrosse. And then when I went and visited, I had a good time partying there. I was kind of a party animal. And so those were like the two things that I went to school for. And then I knew that there was a film and new media program there. And so it was also a bonus that I could follow up and follow what I was actually interested in.
Did you end up getting a degree in film and media?
Yeah, film and new media studies, which was sick. It was really fun course, had some interesting professors, but honestly, it was kind of just a conduit to continue what I was passionate in. I learned a little bit, but everything you really learn is after school and actually doing the thing. So yeah, got a little fancy degree, but do you need a degree to do filmmaking? I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
I don't think it helps really at all. Who's hiring you based on your degree in this industry?
0 people.
Yeah.
No one. No. I got hired. My first job was a friend had seen some of the films I was making in college just for fun, and I was posting them on YouTube, and he wanted me to. He's an artist, so he wanted me to film his music video for him. So I filmed a music video for him. Maybe he gave me like $100 or something, and then a mutual friend of his who owned a production company saw the music video and reached out to him because he was in need of some filmmakers or just camera operators really to help them at a polo tournament. And they owned a polo production company filming horse polo.
And you did that for quite a few years, right? Filming polo?
Yeah, I went down, helped them out, and it was supposed to be just kind of a one-off gig for a tournament, and we all kind of meshed well together, and so they ended up offering me a job, and that was my first job out of college, and we traveled the world filming horse polo.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it was sick. It was really fun. It was called Horseplay Productions at the time. It's now rebranded to Running Iron Creative, and yeah, those guys were awesome. It was a small team of like 4 to 8, kind of depending on what tournament, and we would follow the polo circuit. So we'd be in Florida for 3 months, and then go to England for a couple months, and then Spain and Argentina and California, and then we'd get the winters off for January. And so we all kind of lived in Colorado. So we'd go back to Colorado, ski for a month, then go back to Florida. And so we did that for probably 4 years before I tried starting my own production company with a couple homies.
So out of school, music video, ended up working for this company for quite a few years. doing polo, like filming polo.
Yeah.
Did you have a background in filming or I guess, with horses before you got into this, or was that all from that one opportunity?
Yeah, my mom was a horseback rider, so we grew up with like a horse kind of that we all cumulatively took care of. She was the only one that got to ride it, but yeah, she wouldn't let us ride it. But yeah, I was comfortable around horses, and then pole. I'd always wanted to film extreme sports. Like growing up, watching Warren Miller every winter, it's like, man, I wish I could be on the slopes filming that person, or being hanging out of a helicopter filming that person, or going all these cool adventures. And I thought polo was pretty lame when the first time, like, you hear polo and you're like, oh, hoity-toity little garden sport with little ponies.
Ralph
And
Lauren.
yeah, exactly. And it is on some level, but the level we were filming was the top level in the world. And these are the most badass athletes I've ever seen. And so after seeing it for the first time and being offered the job, I was kind of like, man, this is an extreme sport. It's not skiing, but these guys are some of the best athletes. Like, this is very interesting to me, and athletic performance has always been interesting to me. So yeah, kind of cut my teeth doing that. We were live streaming, which was kind of crazy for a while, covering tournaments where we'd go film a day, come home, put highlights together, pump it out on Instagram or Facebook, and rinse and repeat. And we were doing that like 6 days a week when we were covering these tournaments.
Getting in the reps.
Yeah, tons of reps.
So you said you left and you started or tried to start your own production company after that. So how did getting all of that experience lead into starting your own thing?
Yeah, another friend was into filmmaking, and kind of we'd been talking about it for a while. Oh, we should start our own thing, and on some level, getting in tons of reps, I was very confident in the filmmaking side of things, and so I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then he brought in his brother and his brother's friend, who were younger than us and had majored in business, and so they were kind of on board as like the marketing and producer side of things. And but none of us had had any experience building companies or marketing our skills. At least I didn't at that time, because I was just focused on how do I make the coolest thing. And so the company didn't work out. They say, don't start things with your friends, because it either goes really well or you lose friends. And it ended up, not to get into details, but it didn't work out for me. So I left like after 6 months. And that was tough, because kind of ended a friendship, or a couple, like my friendship with Dylan at the time ended, because I left abruptly. I perceived some things that, they didn't do me right by. Same thing on the other side. And it sucked, and I was broke and had spent all my money, and I moved back in with my parents for a bit because I didn't know what to do. I was like, fuck, I failed at this thing. Am I actually good at all? And then hit up my old friends at the polo company. They had just started another season. They were expanding operations. They were like, oh, we definitely need more help. So I went back down and worked with them for another year and a half. And thankfully they were stoked to have me, which was a nice, like, kind of safety blanket, I guess. Or it's just like a nice way to not really face the challenges of being broke and living at home, in a sense, and just like diving back into what I knew. But it was fun, and I love those guys. So it was a fun thing for another couple years.
So you went back and worked with the polo company.
Yep.
For another couple of years. I remember I know we've talked about it before. What were some of the milestones along this journey? Didn't you do some like commercial stuff or some like little films with this?
Yeah, there was some cool shit that happened for sure. We got to make a Nissan commercial, and that was rad. Red Bull had produced this really dope downhill mountain bike series. So we took that as inspiration and tried to bring it to polo. So we made 2 seasons of this show called In the Saddle.
Like a weekly webisode?
Yeah. Weekly, following the tournament and players as they progress through the tournament, but also trying to tell like the human stories that were outside of the actual game. And through that, we got connected with this agency that was producing a Nissan commercial, and they hired us to make that with them, which was super cool. I won an award for another short documentary, or actually, I guess it was a commercial that kind of felt like a documentary for this robotic camera that it's called Pixio or Move and See. And I featured my mom, who was also in Florida training to try and be in the Grand Prix dressage. And that got like, I don't know, a couple million views and won a horse themed film festival award, which was fun. Got to go to New York City for that.
Nice. Oh, it's fun
so
to see
like,
your stuff on like the big screen too.
yeah. And you know, it was only like a minute and a half long, but it kind of like helped affirm that I was doing the right things, you know, because so often, at least in my career, it's like so many times I have self-doubt and hypercritical of my own work and like imposter syndrome. So having those moments was really nice to just be able to lean back on, like, okay, we're still doing the right things and keep going,
Yeah.
push through the hard times, you know, that and the self-critical voices.
Yeah. What keeps you going when you do have that self-doubt?
Yeah, at this point, it's just belief that it's the self-doubt for me has never left. And so at this point, it's just like belief that whenever things get hard, there will be a better thing on the other side, because so many times when shit gets really hard in my life and I push through it, it leads to bigger and better things. And so now it's like whenever I hear the voice inside my head that's critical, it's like, okay, well, this is normal. And we'll just keep pushing through until it goes away.
Yeah.
And then something good happens.
So pushing through that self-doubt, you went from living at your parents' house back to working in polo. How did you get into the outdoor industry and working kind of what it seems like in your dream job of working like filming action sports? Because that's what you do full time now. So how did you go from filming high action polo to the outdoor industry?
Well, you know, they always say like when one door closes, another door opens. And my last season in Florida filming polo had a bad fallout with one of the producers on we were making two different longer, like 30-minute documentaries following two teams, and the producer and I butted heads and did not get along, and it ended up, and he also worked for the company that I was working for at that time called Running Iron, and kind of got, you know, it came to a head at the very end of the season, and we weren't able to like resolve our differences man to man. So the whole company got involved, and the owners of the company didn't really want to deal with it at the time. So I kind of got siloed into my own thing and separated from the rest of the crew. And at that point, it was like, okay, like maybe the fit isn't good anymore. It was good for a long time, and you know, to grow, you have to leave stuff behind. So at that point, I had kind of mentally, it's kind of a weird story, actually. I'd not completely checked out. I was still doing my job, but I was like, I was kind of depressed because all the good things about the job had left. All the people I was working with and the good vibes were kind of gone. So sort of depressed, went back east to revisit a like where we had family reunions. And while I was there, I was like, if I'm depressed, like why bother doing this? It's not fun. So I'm just going to quit. Made the decision right then and there. I'm like, I'm quitting. And 2 days later, I had no idea what I was going to do. But yeah, 2 days later, I get a text from our buddy Sage, who with this screenshot says like, cinematographer wanted in Washington to work at a ski resort for the winter. And he had just moved out here, and we were bike buddies, and he went to Colorado College with me, and he's like, bro, you should come out. And I'm like, holy moly, this is wild. I just decided to quit, and now an opportunity is being thrown in my face. So, and it was with Steep Motion at Crystal Mountain, and I picked up the phone, like called Sage, and then he gave me Colton's number, texted Colton, and Colton was asked them like, "Oh, are the Steep guys cool?" He's like, "Oh, the Steep guys are great," and then started DMing the Steep guys. "Oh, I really want the job," and ended up having an interview with Henry and Satchel, and they hired me to come and kind of be like the content creator at Crystal for a season where we
took
met.
over my job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember, when you first came to town. So that was the first job. That was the first job, like transitioning from polo. That's kind of the theme of working in this industry, though, and being a freelance creative, even if you were working for other companies, but just like working in the creative industry. There's lots of ups and downs. It's not like, I don't know anybody that is just like a smooth path.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I came to town, met you, and then I was only supposed to stay for 6 months. It was supposed to just be the winter contract and then cruise home. And Crystal ended up re-signing a contract, so they had some summer work, and I kind of fell in love with Washington, and so stayed. And it was a dream job. It was so sick, like getting to show up to the ski resort every day, shoot whatever made the mountain look good and would hopefully play well and give people FOMO on Instagram. We made a couple cool like Heart and Souls for them, which are these 3-minute documentaries. Mm-hmm. That was super fun. And yeah, just totally in that winter, it was just like, well, this might only be a little bit of an opportunity. So you just got to run with it and enjoy the moment. And I was like super grateful, and just, it was, getting to work with, pro snowboarders like Blair and Morgan, and yeah, just really great winter. And then Steve wanted me back, so I stayed and got to do a couple more winters.
A lot of other projects on the side. So all of those storytelling pieces, the on the mountain skiing at Crystal. I know we went on quite a few different trips. Like we went to Kenya together to film a documentary for Vail Veterans Program.
Oh, that was rad.
A lot of stuff with like Big Sky, a couple things with Vail.
Yeah, some tourism stuff.
Lots of tourism stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a really busy 2 years. I guess it was about 2 years with Steep, maybe 2.5.
And then how did the transition go from, I guess, what led to the transition from working with Steep to now running your own company? What is your company, by the way?
I started, well, let's see. Yeah. So we have Magic Hour Media House is the kind of the freelance brand I started to represent, my work and not just make it seem like it's just me, like, oh, we have a team. It's just me. But it's kind of like appearances, like if you can project like you're North Cascade Films, like you got a team behind it, even though it's mainly just one operator.
Yeah, like North Cascade Films, it's me, the owner operator, but on pretty much any bigger project, I'm hiring out a team. So it is a team in that sense.
Yeah.
How does your, I guess first let's get over like, how did you transition? Yeah. What was the transition like from, you went from working with 2 different production companies to, it didn't sound like too much freelance, to now a year and a half into running your freelance business?
It's kind of the same thing. Like a door closes, another door opens. Steep decided that they wanted to scale down, and scaled back down. Steep for a long time was just a 2-man band. It expanded to like 6 when we were all together. And the owner, Satchel, kind of wanted to scale back. You had left and gone on your way, and the other, main guy, Henri, had also kind of expressed interest in going his own way and doing his own thing. So it made sense for Satchel just to go back to Satchel. And so in that, and then Crystal also decided they didn't want to hire Steep again. They couldn't afford Steep. And so in that, I was kind of left with this decision, like, okay, I'm in Washington. I have some contacts here, and should I go back home to Colorado where I don't really have any contacts or like any momentum, or just stay here and try and make a go of it? And it's like, I'll commit to another winter here and see how it goes. And in that, Crystal came back and was like, hey, Steep was charging, I think, $130K for a season, a whole year at that time. And they were like, well, we can afford about 70. So if you want to come on for 8 months for this $70,000 project, do a couple more short documentaries, provide the same content coverage, then we'll have you. And so it was really that first contract that was big enough to pay like a couple months of, I mean, that was almost a full year. You could pay a whole year, but at least like cover the first couple months of being on my own. That gave me the confidence to start freelancing. And, in that Crystal, we start the season. I made some mistakes too in that, like something you should do, audience, is always ask for at least half up front if it's a big contract. I didn't do that because I was friends with all of the marketing people over the past 2 years we had spent together. I was like, okay, well, they'll do me right. Turns out corporations are incentivized to sometimes not do you right. And so we start the season, and I had been paid like, probably 2 months. We would organize like a retainer of a monthly fee, and I've been paid 2 months. And then they're like, hey, yeah, the season started off slow. We need to cut marketing budgets, so we're cutting it in half. So suddenly my monthly income dropped in half. And then 2 weeks later, they're like, hey, yeah, actually, we got to cut it in half again. So, and then I ended up making like $18K for the season from Crystal that year instead of like a projected 70, which was my own fault. I should have been harder in the contract negotiations, but I didn't know. I kind of I have a trusting instinct and try and just take people at their word. So big mistake. Always get half up front if it's a big contract. Do it. Okay.
So how did you deal with that? That's
Yeah.
like a huge, like, especially if you have overhead and just living expenses, things that you are already planning on, whether or not you bought equipment, you hired out people, like, how do you deal with, like, how did you move forward from that? That seems really hard to move through.
Luckily, I mean, sometimes it's just luck. So I had low rent cost, really low rent, which was amazing. So at least my expenses were low. So I pared everything down. Stopped buying new skis, I have a ski addiction. So it's, I love skis. But cut all expenses. And then you have two choices when bad things happen to you. You either can despair and kind of become a victim. Woe is me. I don't deserve this. What the fuck? Like, it's all their fault. And blame people, or just kind of like, this is what happened. I'm going to go out and try and find more work and just accept it for what it is. And in doing that, so I took that approach. I was just like, Crystal's doing something that they feel is best for them. It's not personal. It's not like they're just like, we're going to screw this guy over intentionally like that. So it's just like, all right, this is happening. I need to find more work ASAP, and started reaching out to just friends and people in the industry of like, hey, do you have any work? Can you help me out? Like, I'll do anything, and I mean, I got on set with you a couple times. You gave me a couple checks to come and assist on certain projects, which kept the momentum going. And in getting through that, it gave me a lot of faith in and confidence, this is kind of sound weird, but let me start over. It works out. It was another hard time, and I was kind of alluding to this earlier. It was just a hard time, slap in the face, and it ended up working out just because of the positive attitude that I had and attacking this new challenge. And I think there's a lot of our industry and being a freelancer that's about momentum and just keep doing whatever you can to keep the momentum going. Mm-hmm. And I'm kind of a woo-woo spiritual person. So it's I also think that if you can manifest your own destiny. So it's I really wanted this, and I was working hard to try and achieve the dream, so to speak. And when you put out all that energy into the world, it comes back. It comes back to you. and it was coming back to me.
Speaking of energy, are you
Yeah.
talking about just thinking about this stuff, or are you specifically doing actions? Like like if you were taking actions, like what actions were you taking to keep this momentum going, or were you just trying to send out positive energy, like thoughts? Like how does this manifesting? Yeah,
Yeah.
how is this working?
Yeah. So it's not just thoughts. Thoughts are great, but thoughts are nothing unless expressed into being. And sometimes that's just even like journaling and talking about it. It's like giving energy to those thoughts. I think that's kind of like the lowest form of manifestation is like just writing about it, but you're still taking something in your mind in the metaphysical, bringing it into the physical world. What I was doing is just like, okay, I'm going to keep skiing. I'm going to keep making content. I'm going to keep reaching out to people in the industry that might be able to help me. So finally, like I got another lucky break. I mean, luck. You make your own luck too. Like if you're lucky and you believe you're lucky, you're going to keep being lucky and more lucky.
But
But
you're probably taking the actions that help make that luck possible. Like you can't be lucky if you don't do anything.
totally. Yeah. I mean, and if I wasn't making content, then like I got a break with the K2 sales team, or a recommendation rather, from another one of my friends, Julia. Julia recommended me to the sales team to film something for their collaboration with Evo. Not a big contract, $3,500 or something, but it was still like I'm working hard. Someone recommends me. They see that I'm making the ski content that they want to see. Okay, this guy's doing it. He's actually out here every day. He's doing follow cams, and okay, his portfolio is he can shoot an interview. Okay, great. Like let's hire him. So I got hired for this like K2 and Evo collab that winter, and that was like, at the time a big enough thing where it's like, okay, sick. Like I've made a toehold in the industry. Like I was working with Crystal. Now I have something else that's more than Crystal. And so it's just like cumulative little actions that show you want to be somewhere that someone else can take and look at as proof that you are the right person for that job. And then the universe is also saying like looking at you and you're like putting out all this creative energy and producing things, and it'll come back. It comes back.
So does that mean like social media played a big role in that? Like putting it out on like social media? How like where were you putting all this content out that you
Yeah,
were
pretty
creating?
much just Instagram, I would say. Some YouTube.
Yeah.
But at the time, like mostly just Instagram. And I was also connecting with other people at Crystal. So it wasn't just me filming myself. It's like, okay, I had contacts so specifically if you're looking to make it in like the outdoor industry, and I was trying to make it in the ski world, okay, I'm going to go to Crystal. I'm going to find, I knew the ambassadors. So it's like, hey, I'll come and film this video for you for free. I'm going to add value to their life. And they're going to also, in return, give me credibility because, okay, I'm filming Blair Hobnick, long time snowboard pro, one of the sickest snowboarders I've ever seen. Like, he's posting on his social media, and then I'm also posting, and it's like, oh, this guy's filming with professionals. He can work with professionals. So if you're looking to make it in the outdoor space, in a sense, it's like go to your local hill and find who is either an influencer or a pro.
Like trying to find quality talent.
Yeah,
Like you
totally.
can't just go film skiing with anybody if you're trying to like have something to show for it. Like how important is the riding versus the filming on stuff like this?
Well, yeah, it takes talent to be in front of camera, and it takes sacrifice because if you're going out on a powder day to make cool imagery, you're not skiing powder. And a lot of people in front of the lens and behind the lens don't want to make that sacrifice. So you need to find the right people who are like, oh yeah, it's valuable for me to have nice photos of me taken or nice videos of me taken. So for like Morgan and Blair, I was leaning on those guys a lot, two snowboarders. They liked having content of them taken.
And they're both really, just note to the audience, like these two athletes are really good in front of the camera. Like they make it look good. So when if you can capture that well, then you have like the full puzzle.
Yeah.
What I was alluding to is like, I see a lot of people they want to get into ski filming and they're like, oh, we'll just go ski with whoever is available.
Mm-hmm.
But a huge part of filming in the outdoor industry or any of this is like having people that look good in front of camera,
Yeah.
that have the skills that you want to show off. Like half of it's your camera work, and then the other half is the talent and what they can bring to the table.
And those guys have, the better you can get and the better service you can provide them, then they're going to be willing to go to bat for you as well. So filming that season with Morgan, we would give Crystal all of this content too. So we're like leveraging Morgan's Instagram, we're leveraging Crystal's Instagram. My following was non-existent, but when Crystal posted one of the clips Morgan and I got, and it got, 350,000 views, well, and then Smith reposts it, suddenly I'm on Smith's radar. And that directly led to an opportunity with Smith the following year, because I was able to harken back to that particular clip. The contact in the marketing department remembered it, and suddenly it's like, oh, I'm a trusted source.
So you're not going out there just like asking for work. Like you are coming in, showing up, doing the work, providing a ton of value, asking for nothing in return to really like get your name out there, build up that brand, build up your skill set too, like build up their portfolio.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did that, so first season done, how did that transition into, so you got a contact with K2. How did that evolve into working now with Smith, with Crystal some more, and the other brands that you're working with, Flylow?
I think building up that credibility, that was like the goal for first, in a sense. Okay, this person has a good portfolio. I created a decent portfolio for myself where someone could look at it and be like, okay, this person knows what they're doing. They can work with professional athletes. They can make nice looking images. And then I have mainly just been doing word of mouth marketing, which is what it is. I could probably market more, but I've mainly leaned on friends and then friends of friends and industry contacts to just get recommendations in order to get work.
Yeah. Note on this though, like the friends of friends is like once you start building up friends in the industry, those friends are in positions that can hire you for these jobs, right?
Yeah.
It's not just like, oh, my friend who's a dentist.
Yeah, totally. Yes, you're absolutely right. I mean, I would work for a dentist. I was also in the realm of like, I'm not going to say no to anything. So I'm sure at that point that I worked some jobs that I would not really, glamorously choose. But I'm kind of the mind, it's like every opportunity that to say yes to something is the universe looking at you, putting out energy and giving you something in return. You don't know what it might be and what that next opportunity might lead to. But every opportunity that was coming my way, I was like, I'm in. And I'm certain I did some jobs that are like, what am I doing? But, if you say no, you can't say no. You can't say no to opportunities that come, even if it's like, hey, you want to come and like, I did headshots of graduation, like I'm just affirming that I still want to be in the creative, like making money creatively. So I don't know. That's just a side note, but like some people say no to stuff because it's like, oh, I don't want to be taking headshots. Well, it's like,
Yeah.
But if you say no to that, then the momentum stops.
Depends what else you have on your plate.
Exactly. And this is more when you're starting out because, like if then once you get established and someone's like, hey, can you take my headshot for $200? It's like, well, actually I have 3 other things this week. Like, I'm sorry. Here's a recommendation for someone who would do this for you.
Yeah.
But at that time I had nothing on my plate. Like, yeah, you want your headshot taken? Boom, I'm there. Like, let's do it. Keep the momentum, every little bit helps.
Mm-hmm.
And
also with that, like the outdoor industry notoriously doesn't necessarily pay the greatest for a lot of the things because it's like a lot of people want to go and do these jobs and film in like cool locations with cool athletes. So the pay might not be as good. What are your thoughts on taking work outside of what you want to specialize in to pay the bills, because sometimes there's a lot of other jobs that will help pay the bills that might not be like your favorite thing to do, but those could be like the majority of your income going forward, or like they could be the majority of your income you make from doing
Yeah,
something totally different than the thing that you really love and the reason why you want to keep this going.
totally. Yeah, I mean, for me, that's been real estate. Like I ended up forming a relationship with one realtor, who is now my friend, and he's also owns this place that we're recording in. He's my landlord, and he at first just wanted to get a film of some B-roll of up at Summit, the bike park, to just splice into some of his website and show like some of the lifestyle. And I did, it's like, oh, real estate, like kind of boring, not really sexy, not biking or climbing or skiing, but again, it's that same thing. Okay, I'll take that opportunity. And now he's one of my best clients. Like I supplement this month, I think I'm making the most money off of filming houses. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that necessarily, because it actually allows me to go film skiing at a higher level, because I'm not hustling. When I do get to go skiing, I'm like fully focused and appreciative of doing it and film skiing. And I'm not like hustling to try and find more work in the outdoor industry where everyone wants to go. It's like, okay, like there's so much peace of mind in a sense. So you never know where it goes. So
Did having
does
that
that
extra
answer?
source of income that makes you like not have to stress about filming in the outdoor industry as much, is that what helped give you the opportunity to film your ski movie last year? By the way, Henry created created his own ski film from
Yeah.
scratch. So maybe let's jump into that. How did you find the time and effort and resources to do that? Was it funded?
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
let's jump into
made
that.
we made a film called Powder Fever, and it's about a fictional character whose addiction to powder takes over his life, and then what consequences happen because of that. And it's kind of a comedy, and that we just made happen. I wasn't filming real estate last winter, and last winter was definitely more of like a ramen winter, but we just had an idea. I had never made my own ski film from start to finish, so we just wanted to make it happen. And when you're doing a passion project, we did try and get it funded loosely, but we had no like acumen to fall back on, because the athletes that I was using, my homie Kyle and I, hadn't made a full ski movie before. And everyone wants to get paid to make a ski film. And so we got zero funding.
But you made it happen.
But we made it happen. Yeah. I mean, you just got to go one day at a time, right? So we were filming a traditional ski movie where it's cool skiing. And then also on the side, it would be intercut with all these life cut scenes of like him at a psychiatrist's office, him, and his girlfriend in trouble, him, what was the other one? Like, losing his job. And so we had probably 5 scenes that we wanted to film outside of skiing, and then we just wanted to have banger skiing shots, essentially. And so you just have to take every opportunity that you can to go and film. And it took a lot of like willpower to go do it, because again, it's like, all right, I've been filming for my job. Now I'm trying to go and film for this passion project, and I'm actually missing ski days to go film. And like for 90% of the time, everyone, like the inner voice in my head is like, well, we got 3 good shots. Like this movie's going to suck, like, we just kept going. It's like, okay, we'll go film on a volcano in Idaho, or not Idaho, Oregon. And you just have to keep pushing. And then the editing, it was the same thing. It was like, oh, fuck, we have all this footage. This movie's going to suck. Why am I even editing this thing? And like, we set a due date. We were like, we're having a premiere. And, I just did it whenever I had free time. And it takes so much willpower to do something. But that's why they call it a passion project. It's just, you gotta, like, the passion is what fueled it. and it was incredibly rewarding to premiere it in front of like 100 people, and all our friends.
Yeah.
And then that incidentally did lead to, in conjunction to being able to film a K2 series this year, because they saw, one of the marketing people, Julia, went to the premiere and saw like, oh, okay, like this person is capable of taking something from nothing to making a movie. They wanted to make a short documentary series. Well, now I'm top of mind. And I had done another project. It kind of goes back to also doing a good job if you want to make it, every opportunity. So I had done a really good job with the first K2 Sales Evo event. And then the sales team hired me again to film a K2 BOA event. And I went ham. Like, I was like, okay, this has to be the best edit I've ever made. And at the time, I think it might have been. Like, it was sick. It was an internal video just for the company, and they showed it to everyone. And I was like, oh, this is rad. And so that, in conjunction with the movie, I think got me this other job.
Yeah. That's one thing I've definitely found in my own career is like trying to over deliver and make each project that you're doing, especially if it's for a client, like don't just treat it as a job where you're just like, especially if you're in the industry that you're trying to be in, you're building relationships. If you just do the job, like bare minimum, do the job, get it done for the paycheck, like, yeah, you got paid for one job, but then you don't have necessarily anything to show for it. The client might even be happy with the final product, but it's not like it's pushing you to improve and get better. So by like treating every project as like, this is going to be the best one, you're always leveling up what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then, especially if you do a really good job on it, like the client sees that and they're like, what? This is like what we got for that. Like, you're their go-to person then.
Yeah.
Has that been your experience with it?
Yeah, I mean, with that K2 BOA event, for sure. Like, they were not expecting what I gave them. They just wanted photos and like a little bit of like a recap video, and I made them basically like a commercial for their event.
I saw this video. It looks great.
Yeah, thanks, Doc.
I got a lot of inspiration from it.
Thanks. That means a lot. I could have taken the easy way out and just like, oh, okay, I know exactly what they want. They want coverage. I can cover this. It's a boring event, where just people are talking and showing sales reps around the BOA facility and like, hey, this is the technology kind of thing. But I had seen some inspiration that was like, okay, the fast cuts.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
What was it? Ticker ramp.
Yeah, the ticker ramp. And I had seen that. Someone else used that. And I'm like, okay, how can I make this interesting? And I went and found every K2 and every BOA logo in the facility that I could and filmed each one of them. And then it took me a full day. I was not getting paid very much. I think this was like $1,000 day rate kind of thing for the whole project. And it took me a full day, but I overlaid all of them one frame at a time on top of each other. And then even had the BOA logo like spinning as if it was like spinning tight. And it was that like, and then had some good music, and then the rest of the event kind of like flows nice. Used a 360 camera to like swoop between different events, but that was the hardest part. That upped my filmmaking game for sure, and that was the eye-catching thing that the company was like, oh, okay, this guy's legit. So yeah, I think you're spot on. Like, you have to treat every opportunity like it's going to be your best project.
Yeah.
Which is hard to do. I'm struggling at that now. Like, I'm editing this documentary that I shot last April for Evergreen, a mountain bike nonprofit. And, I'm getting paid like $3,500 to do the edit. It's 13 minutes right now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I've been working on it a long time. And half of me is like, let's just pack it in. Like, the client says it's good enough. Let's color it. Let's ship it, get it out the door. And then I was watching it last night. I'm like, man, I could really make this ending scene a lot better. Tore apart the whole ending montage, and I've started from scratch. And it's like halfway done now. And I'm actually really stoked because it's way better.
That's
way
awesome.
better. Yeah.
But that's like you doing that for you. It's also really hard to, I've been in this a ton of times where you have a lot of work or something's like just taking so much longer than you expected. And sometimes you do just need to get it done, and like done is better than perfect. It's awesome when you have the time and the effort to do that, which leads us into our next point, which is I think the tips for the listener, people that are getting into this creative career. How do you go from just starting out, like your first $100 music video, to charging, you were saying even a low rate, like $1,000 a day? Like, how do you go from $100 from an entire project to $1,000 a day? Like, and also with that, like having more money for like your shoot gives you the freedom and flexibility to spend more time and really make it that one up project. Where if you're doing $100 project, you have to stack so many of those just to pay the bills that you don't have the time to level up your ability. So like, how do you go from $100 project to $1,000+ a day?
I think if I were to do it all over again, in the beginning, the most important thing is reps. And I think you said that earlier, but it's like, I would probably have a day job that I could make sure that I was going to feed and pay my bills with, whatever that looks like. And maybe I'm lucky and like have a little something that gets me in with a production company that is able to do production.
So you can learn while you're doing. Like, I think that's a huge perk of working for a production company. You and I both work for production companies. I was freelance for about a year before I worked for Steep. But then working for Steep, you didn't have to worry about a paycheck. You're just literally doing the job, and we were shooting and editing so much, like way more than I do now. Besides doing my own personal content like this, but like shooting way more, editing way more, and you're just like pumping through stuff. So you're able to get a lot more reps and get paid for it.
Yeah, and like grab a camera. Doesn't need to be a nice camera at all. Get any camera and shoot what's interesting to you. Make stuff, and then at least you have something to approach people with. That's like, even if you're not trying to get paid, I wouldn't even try and get paid at first, unless you absolutely need to. But it's like, just make stuff first and then approach. The quickest way that I think is to learn is approach people that are better than you. So even if it's approaching a production company, like, hey, here, like, you've posted your stuff, it's shit, no one cares. What people care about is that you're enthusiastic, you are willing to learn and try hard. And I would hit up production companies or individuals and just ask to come do free work for them. Like, show up on set, hey, I want to intern. I'm willing to carry light stands. I'm willing to do anything just to be in the room with people that are doing it professionally. And being able to observe the professional process, I think, is probably the quickest way to learn. And then in doing so, it's like, okay, that you learn a technique every time you're there. And then you need to make sure you're adding value to that person's team. You're not just like hanging out, watching things lazily. Like, you're looking to contribute in whatever.
The last thing people that are on production want is an extra hand that they have to be supervising. Like, everybody on a set is going to be doing probably numerous things, and they're going to be busy, focused on what they need to do. Watching somebody else is the last thing they need. Like, that's a, would not help.
And there's so many YouTube resources. Like, I remember I went and assisted somebody, and I was like, and I was probably like 6 years deep at this point, but I was just going to be like a assistant gaffer. And I was like, man, I don't really know because I was all documentary outdoor production stuff with Polo. I had never gone on an actual set before. So I just YouTubed it. Like, what does a gaffer do on set? Sick. So many YouTube resources that will tell you what the role is, how it happens, what the expectations are, how to be an intern. Like, any way you can, just get your foot in the door. And then once you're making stuff and you like are learning, there's people out there that will want what you're offering for whatever a certain price, whether it's a mom and pop store that needs a restaurant, a mom and pop restaurant needs their menu reshot, and they need like some nice photos. Like, you can offer that and for whatever price is you're willing to get out of bed for and do it. For me, it was filming a music video for $100. That was the price I'm willing to get out of bed for. Now the price I'm willing to get out of bed for is a little higher. But it could go lower if I'm really desperate, you know? Like,
I think it depends on what the project is too. Is there any criteria that you have for picking a project that you want to do?
no,
No?
not right now.
Yeah.
I'm still in the I'll say yes to pretty much anything mode. You know, like I don't know if I've said no to a project. So because I'm still trying to like make a name for myself and still establish myself as a business, and I'll only say no if my schedule is booked.
Which is filling up more and more.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And it's like I've been able to get a certain amount of deals this winter at least that are recurring payments. So like I'm working with Crystal again, and working with K2 for this documentary. And so that is just a monthly retainer for several months, which adds a really nice comfortability layer of like, okay, I know I'm going to make X amount. That's going to be able to cover X amount of bills. That means I only need to go and find 1 or 2 jobs a month to make ends meet and feel good about like where I'm trying to hit goals, you know? So, okay, I'm trying to hit, like, goal this year is 200,000. So I need to get 4 jobs this month, hypothetically, that pay, you know, 3 to 4 grand to make that goal on top of what I'm making or whatever. What was your question? I don't know where I was going with that, I guess. Like,
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. Having goals, like breaking it down to know how much you need to make per month is super helpful for moving forward and figuring out how much work you actually need to get, how much you need to be putting yourself out there, whether it's worth saying yes to something that's a lower paying job
Yeah.
versus, or maybe waiting for something that's going to pay quite a bit more. Like
Yeah.
if you take $100 job that's going to take you 2 days to do,
yeah.
that's potentially saying no to other projects. But
Yeah.
I think, yeah, moving on though is like, what do you have? What are you looking forward to? What's coming up later this year? Where are you going?
Yeah. I'm just looking. It's kind of funny. I don't know what's coming up later down the pipeline. Crystal ends at the end of April. K2 ends at the end of April. I need to edit that project, but yeah, past that, I have no plans right now, and that's always kind of how it is. I think for how it's been for me in the past year and a half, it's like something will happen. I just have this belief, and like it's kind of like it's not religious, but like a belief that in the universe, in a higher power, that as long as I keep doing what I'm doing, everything's gonna work out. And it just over the past year and a half, like even when it gets really hard, it's like testing that belief, and every time something happens and it works out. So May will roll around and I might have some gigs or I might not, but I'm excited to keep working.
Yeah, we might be editing alongside each other because
Yeah.
there's potentially a really fast turnaround on something that
Yeah.
I have coming up.
Yeah, that would be rad. I'd be stoked to help you out with that.
Yeah. Where can people find you on the interwebs or in general if they want to hire you or just follow you?
I mean, my website's magichourmediahouse.com. You can find me on Instagram as hendog22. I'm sure you'll just like link these in the show notes. My company is also on Instagram, but I've been kind of bad about posting on it. LinkedIn. Yeah, hit me up. Hit me up if you have any questions. Always happy to answer questions or try and get you on set. But yeah, sorry to the people that I haven't brought. I've been hit up a bunch to bring people out skiing and shooting with me on skis, and I'm sorry I haven't brought anybody because it is, as you know, it's a very specific skill set, and the worst thing in the world is waiting on people. And when you're filming with the best athletes in the world, like you kind of got to be able to keep up. And
You can't be babysitting on
Yeah.
set when you're doing something like
Yeah.
that. Like learning days, awesome, but when it's like it needs to like hit the road and you need to just be moving,
Yeah.
it's really hard to have people on set.
And that's a very specific, I've only been filming that this winter, basically, and the real estate. But it's like, that's such a specific thing. And when you're working with a scarce resource like POW, like, you kind of got to be just moving. Like, okay, we're going. Okay, hit, shot, bang, we're out of here. Let's go to the next stash. Like, it's hectic. It's a hectic day.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks, dog. I appreciate you having me.
If you want to see some of the best follow cam ski filming, this guy right here, thanks for having us over in your place.
Yeah.
It's been
Yeah,
great.
dude. Thanks for doing it. Yeah, you're an inspiration, and
You too, man.
Yeah, you keep me working hard too. It's fun to watch your journey. So,
All right.
thanks, dog.
Peace.
Oh, you got the mic.
The mic.
The mic set up. That's funny.